We're going to consider what I was talking about in terms of the form or a pattern of argument. And I just want to make give a warning before we get started, because I know some of my students have a disease that I call mathitis, and this is a very funny. It's a psychological disease that the second they see anything that looks like math, they put their brain into neutral, or their brain automatically goes into neutral, and they become zombies. Excuse me. they they cease to function like human beings. This is going to look like it may be math. Don't let your brain go off, because it really is not complicated at all. But if we're looking at a form or a pattern of argument, think of it like something like a pattern of a fabric, or a pattern, let's say that you're following to draw a picture. It just tells you the form, the way the thing should look. The way the thing should look. And when we were looking at those last two arguments, we said they had some if the first thing, then the second thing. And here's where the guys with mathitis, be careful, because it says if P, then Q. P being any sentence. Put a sentence in there. Q being any sentence. If we go back to the last set of examples, one sentence, everything is caused. P, then no one acts freely. Q. Okay. Then we saw the second premise, P, therefore Q. We saw those were good forms of arguments. Even, in fact, they were the same form as one of the first arguments we considered. If P, the president, is in the White House, then sentence Q, the president is in Washington, D.C. Second premise, P, the president, is in the White House, therefore 3Q, the president is in Washington, D.C. And we see that any argument that follows this form, any argument of this form or of this pattern, is valid. Which means that there's a good, a logically strong connection between the premises and the conclusions. And the conclusion. If the premises are true, then the conclusion is true. Now, is any argument, of this form a good argument? Well, remember, don't go off the bed. It's only one characteristic. We're talking about valid now. Not everyone is a good one, but it's certainly a valid one. That is, the premises are logically strong reasons for accepting the conclusion. The truth of the premises guarantees the truth of the conclusion. But in addition to which, it has to, for any argument of this form, still has to have true premises in order for it to be a good argument. Now we're going to give some of these, and in the book it does it, and traditionally philosophers have given some of these patterns a Latin name. This one happens to be called modus ponens. Maybe you'll remember MP. It is sometimes called affirming the antecedent. The reason is, in an if-then statement, like our if P then Q, the two parts, P is known as the antecedent, like ante comes before, that is the if P comes before the then, and then we have Q as the consequence. So what it's telling us is the second premise is affirming the antecedent, and in that case it is a valid form of argument.